Guys, welcome to Odd Man Out, all the news you didn't know you needed to know. Today's story, New York City destroys joy for millions in one cruel act. You know, there's a problem when government becomes to the size and power that it is, that it loses touch with humanity, and it kind of forgets that we're all individuals trying to get along under a big system, and instead they just decide to look in a book, see a rule, and destroy something that millions of people were enjoying on a daily basis, and one man's pets that he had for 7 years plus. A wonderful little squirrel named Peanut, whose mother was hit by a vehicle, and he rescued this little squirrel and raised it as a pet. And apparently some haters that saw him enjoying life and enjoying his pet decided to call New York City Animal Control, where they went, raided this guy's house, checked his wife's immigration status, questioned him about illegal cameras around the home, handcuffed him, sat him down, made him sit outside for 5 hours while they went through every inch of his home, then eventually stealing a couple of his pets, euthanizing them, and then walking away. You know, recently when we were doing Saturday night at the movies over on my locals channel, we were talking about the video Line in the Sand, and it's a documentary about everybody that's kind of enabling this border crisis that we have. And remarkably, almost everybody in that video kept saying, well, it's just my job. I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job. And we get to the point where, yeah, you're just doing your job and you're collecting your paycheck, but you've lost touch with humanity and what it means to connect with other people. Before we get into the main story, let me quickly tell you about today's sponsor, Black Forest Supplements. You know, my entire channel is dedicated on being smart, being aware, knowing what's going on in our society today. The feminism, the DEI, the relentless attack on men, and of course the feminization on men. And the truth is, weak and feminized men are more easily controlled, making society vulnerable and more manipulated. We're bombarded with estrogenic chemicals from plastics, junk food, sedentary lifestyles, I of which I fell into that myself. And the mainstream media loves to demonize normal, straight, masculine men, calling us toxic and all the other bad things. It's because they fear that we can't be controlled, basically. That's where NMN comes in. That's nicotinamide mononucleotide. I can't pronounce that twice in a row. But it's a derivative of the B vitamin niacin, which is known to dramatically improve health and longevity by serving up a precursor to NAD+, a compound that plays a crucial role in energy production, muscle regeneration, metabolism, and gene expression in the body. You can't take NAD+ directly. You'll see supplements out there that say they're NAD+. You can't take those. They're not bioavailable. They won't be picked up and absorbed in the stomach. They just pass right through you. NAD has to go into the bloodstream, but NMN can be taken orally, and then it triggers the NAD+ for your body to make it on its own, basically. NMN works by replenishing diminished NAD+ levels, which naturally fall at a rate of about 1% per year. It's the powerhouse of your cell for rebuilding. And a 50-year-old person, for example, has half the NAD+ they had in their youth. So basically, by taking this, you rewind the clock and get your body to regenerate and repair as if you were, 20, 25 years old again. And the FDA is trying to take it away from us. They're trying to take it from being a supplement, turning it into only controlled by the pharmaceutical companies that you need a prescription for. So not only can they make more money, but they can take it away from you. I got the bottle right here, camera right there. I've been on it for the last couple of weeks. It's helped my skin immensely. You know, I'm 52 years old, and you can see that my forehead lines are starting to go away. My crow's feet are almost gone now. And the only reason I have dark circles is because I don't get enough sleep, because that is my life. Anyway, that's why I'm recommending you grab it. I have an exclusive offer for you. If you use the link that I'm going to put down below, which is blackforestsupplements.com/bachelor, you get it for the next 48 hours. You can buy 2, get 1 free. This isn't a cheap, quick fix kind of thing, but it is something that when you take it for just a few weeks, you're going to start noticing your levels get better. There's tons of videos here on YouTube of all the benefits. So far, I haven't seen any side effects or any negatives yet. So please go check them out. Please grab yourself a couple of bottles today. I think you'll really appreciate that you did. Start feeling better, start getting younger, start being stronger, because, that's the last thing they want you to do. Well, the main story here is this is from Kanoka the Great. And this is a video clip, a little montage that they had posted around. And you can see this is the gentleman. I'm going to put it up full screen here. So I had to mute it because it has music over it like it always does. But as you can see, this is a man and his wife. Good Lord. This is a man and his wife just enjoying his little pet squirrel that he's raised for almost 8 years. He lets it outside. They play with it. It's kind of heartwarming. He's got, I think, 1 million some odd followers on social media. And Peanut allowed him to start his own animal shelter. And the New York City government just came in and decided they knew what was best for this little animal and decided to end its life and getting rid of it. It's happy. It has a great home. It's just really frustrating to see that the government can come in and take away something that a man and his family love so much. This is their little raccoon. I don't know if you can see this video well enough. It doesn't want what do they call it? A pup cup from Dunkin' Donuts, where they basically enjoys whipped cream. This is the other animal that they ended up putting down, was the squirrel and the raccoon. So TMZ interviewed the guy. Let me bring this up as well. TMZ interviewed him, and he tells the whole story of exactly what happened. And as you can see, the family's crushed over this, and millions of viewers that tuned into this enjoyed it. And somebody got mad, and a couple people reported him. And instead of going after immigrants, instead of going after the people that are committing crimes and being released on no bail and dumped back out into the streets to harm other people again, they go all out in seizing a squirrel and a raccoon. It's just unbelievable what New York City has done here.
We just learned that they have euthanized Peanut.
And the raccoon as well.
And the raccoon as well. I am so sorry. This must be really difficult for you.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal after they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house, then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. And then they took them and killed them.
Why did they go through all that to get a search warrant for an animal that had been with you very safely, and the world witnessed this, for 7 years? Why now suddenly did they show up with a search warrant and take these animals?
We haven't a clue. We don't know who made the complaints. Again, Peanut was an indoor squirrel, not harming anybody. He's been with us for 7 years. Not a single complaint was ever filed for this animal. We had him for 7.5 years. He became the world's most famous squirrel. We weren't hiding him by any means. He was all over TikTok. He became the first squirrel on TikTok to ever hit 1 million followers. He did every news station around the world. He's helped people. He's helped kids gather joy. And then we started a nonprofit animal rescue called Peanut's Freedom Farm to help animals like Peanut fight a good fight when they're in a neglected case or they're sitting in a slaughter auction. And he was the cornerstone of our life and our organization. We used his platform to help raise money for the 300 animals we have at our sanctuary.
So the main story here, Peanut the squirrel, beloved pet and internet sensation, euthanized after being seized by New York State. They kind of go over pretty much what we heard in the Fred the raccoon was the other little guy that they ended up terminating. The DEC claims Peanut, who is notably docile and friendly over the course of his very public-facing life, bit one of the investigators on the hand while being confiscated from his Elmira home on Wednesday. Man, that's kind of close to where I grew up. I'm familiar with Elmira, New York. So apparently this isn't New York City, which I thought it was. This is up in rural New York State. So my thumbnail's wrong. I put New York City. I thought this was a squirrel in the city that they were going after. Why they would bother with a squirrel in rural New York, Elmira, I think population maybe 60, 70, 100,000 people. Not very big. And in addition, the person involved with investigation was bitten by the squirrel to test for rabies. Both animals were euthanized. I have a hard time believing that actually happened. I have a feeling they're claiming the squirrel bit somebody, so they had to put it down to test it. Because if it had been in this home, and obviously it didn't bite anybody there, I think it's an excuse. I just think that's an excuse. That's an excuse. They had to put him down. Because they didn't bite the raccoon didn't bite him, didn't bite anybody, so why did they have to put it down? To test for rabies, both animals were euthanized. The animals are being tested to see, and anyone who's been in contact with these animals is strongly encouraged to consult their physician. The DEC statement read, according to WETM. Peanut was rescued by guardian Mark Longo after the Connecticut native witnessed Peanut's mother being struck by a car. The resident and adorable Peanut inspired Longo to move upstate New York last year and found Peanut's Freedom Farm. So he had the squirrel. He literally decided to change his life and do a rescue farm because of this little squirrel. He finds a purpose in life, and they had to take it away from him. He wrote, "Well, Internet, you won," Longo wrote in a caption after the animals were seized. "You took one of the most amazing animals away from me because of your selfishness. To the group of people who called DEC, there's a special place in hell for you," Longo added. In a statement to the Post on Wednesday, the DEC said they were responding to complaints of a rabies vector species that was in a home, namely Fred the raccoon. Understand people's cruelty. Understand who people are. People saw that this couple had a pet, an animal that was bringing joy to people, and some people decided to recommend to the state and complain and have the state go in and investigate. And you know what? They're probably patting themselves on the back for it. They probably feel good because maybe somewhere in his video, he was a conservative, or maybe he had a Trump hat, or maybe he said something they didn't agree with, or maybe they believe in PETA or something or other. So instead of letting this family have a cute little couple of pets that altered the course of their direction in life, they go out and decide to destroy it. And that's probably the most egregious or second egregious part, because the state and Elmira, New York, which is again farm country, the fact that they went in and did this it just shows you the level of hate the government has for you, the level of hate other people have for you, that if you don't see eye to eye and they don't agree with everything you say, they will take pure joy in destroying something you love and an innocent animal just to get even with you. There is no special place in hell for people like this. They should, the ninth level, there's not enough I could wish, because I have a pet. I've had pets all my life. I love them in many cases more than some of the people I've met. It doesn't mean I value a pet more than I would a person, but in many ways I get along with my pets better than I have most people. And to raise a little pet like this, taking it from after its mother had been hit all the way up to almost 8 years with a pet, and then just have it forcefully yanked out of your hands and watch it be put down in front of you. And it's not just the squirrel. It's not like the raccoon. That's not what makes me so mad about this, although it does upset me. It's the fact that people take joy. They would take joy turning thumb screws into you. They would take joy smothering you. There are people that would enjoy that. And they hate you over virtually nothing. And many of them are in the government. So just remember that. Every time you have a soft spot in your heart for somebody else, make sure it's justified, because many of those people will work for your sympathy. They'll work for trying to lie to you and make you feel bad for them. And then they'll turn around and stick you right in the back every time. So whoever's in office that elected these people that went into this home, they should be outed. Stories like this piss me off.